j'aurais vendu the phone.
Oh.
I thought you would have
Oh no, it's okay.
less noise.
Oh, that's okay. Oops. So what will happen, Chef, is that I will introduce you first at the camera. I'll take 2 takes. First take is only 1 minute or less, just to warm up,
Okay.
just to warm up. And the second take we'll go all the way.
Okay.
Because I just want to warm up first, and then now do I pronounce as Chef Julien Bompard or Bompard or
Bompard.
Bompard?
Yes.
Wait. Bompard.
Bompard.
Bompard. Okay. Bompard.
Bompard. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Chef Julien Bompard. Okay. And now this, do I pronounce right? Le Saint Julien or Le Saint?
Le Saint.
Le Saint or Le Saint Julien.
Le Saint Julien. Yeah.
Okay. Just
Saint. No need to pronounce the T.
okay.
Le Saint.
Le
Julien.
Le Saint. Le Saint. Le Saint Julien. Okay. Julien. Okay. Le Saint Julien. Le Saint Julien. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Test. Sound check. 1, 2, 3. Test. Hi, and welcome to the National Quiz Choice Online News, and I'm Robin Stienberg. 1, 2, 3. Test. Okay. You ready?
Yeah. Okay.
We'll just after I count to 3, we'll go all the way. 1, 2, and 3. Hi, welcome to the National Quiz Choice Online News. I'm Robin Steinberg, and welcome to the Steinberg Review. Today's guest, we have a very interesting character, and sorry, this is just a test. 1, 2, 3. 1.
For you.
It is. That's right. That's the way. That's the first take. 1, 2, and 3. Hi, welcome to the National Quiz Choice Online News. I'm Robin Steinberg, and welcome to the Steinberg Review. Today's guest, we have Chef Julien Bompard, who is the owner of Le Saint restaurant in Singapore. And not only that, he has been here for quite a while, and he's going to share with us some insights on what's happening here in Asia and how expats could explore investing a business like his as a restaurant owner here in Southeast Asia. Chef Julien, thank you for joining me with the National Quiz Choice, the Steinberg Review. You have established yourself a great brand presence here in Southeast Asia under your name and your belt. Now, before that, many have tried to guess how did you first began your passion for food and explore yourself becoming one of the best chefs in Southeast Asia? Was it by accident, you know?
Oh, it was very much by, I would say that first a real passion. I mean, it was a day, open day in French Chamber of Commerce Culinary School in Paris. And then I went there to have a look. At that time I was quite young, I was 14 years old. And I went there and I was very excited to see a kitchen, to see all those chefs working and all the activity happening. So straight away actually I joined with an apprenticeship where we were working 1 week in a kitchen with a restaurant, with professional, and 1 week in a school. And I started right there at 15 years old, that way.
Oh wow! Now, how did your parents feel about it? Were they supportive about your direction?
They were quite supportive. I mean, to be honest, I was not. I was always one of the first or the second of the class, starting from the end, basically. So they were quite. I mean, I had to start to work, to start developing, and I would say working with a handcraft job was more what I was looking for, and I truly believe, and my parents also believe, that the apprenticeship was the best way. As long as we want to do something with handcraft, we'll give good way.
Now, when you first tried to exercise your craft, you know, what was the very first dish that you aspire to do well in?
From many things, because in the kitchen we do so much every time. But definitely even just the satisfaction of doing a perfect quiche tart, which is like a custard tart.
Yes.
But from doing the dough, pre-cooking the dough, doing the mixture, baking the tart, letting say, heating it coming out of the oven, which is warm and all that, really part of some satisfaction.
So that was the first.
That was pretty much on some accomplishment I felt at that moment. Simple one, but with great pleasure.
Now, moving forward, as a restaurant owner here in Singapore, when did you first started exploring the possibility of doing business in Asia?
In Asia, actually, I first explored in Hong Kong. I did few different countries. I worked in about 5 different countries in Asia. And I wanted in Hong Kong, but I was not yet sure either to be ready or to be the right place, or because was needed more investment in order to open a restaurant. So I was not too sure. Then I moved on with my career. I actually went to New York. And then I came back, I came to Singapore. At first I was running the Raffle Hotel as a deputy executive chef for the entire hotel. So running the whole culinary department of that hotel. And I did that for 2 years. And then I get really confident in Singapore. Then it was a possibility to really have the entrepreneurship spirit behind it. And then the support overall to do it. And we were able to open our first restaurant without any financial support, really starting with our saving, myself and with my wife, Edith, which is in the front of the restaurant.
Oh, and how did you met your wife? Is she a Singaporean or was
she's actually Hong Kong.
Oh,
she's from Hong Kong. Yes,
okay.
She's from Hong Kong. She actually worked with me in a Peninsula Hotel, of Hong Kong, very high luxury and prestigious hotel. And she was a sales and marketing. I was basically so the chef in the kitchen, and then we met like that through some different event that we did together. And then today I think is a bit of the perfect match to have my wife in the front as a salesperson and marketing person, and myself behind the stove every day.
Amazing. Now, when you first started your business here in Singapore, what were the main criteria that you look for when you start a restaurant in Singapore?
No, it was really authenticity of my work. Personally, I didn't really try to adjust my cooking exactly to the taste and all. I more go deeply into my knowledge, into my traditional French cooking, and then developing that to make it discover to the people and to give them the interest of it. So I didn't actually really try to just adapt. When we opened 10 years ago, was even still very much the fusion cuisine was still fashionable, but I didn't go there at all. I went into traditional French cuisine, what I call a honest home cooking, but well presented, well set in a restaurant. And that was really my focus, is to do what I do best and to go for it, basically.
Now, speaking about doing what you do best and you go for it in traditional French cooking, what actually set yourself distinctive from all the other French restaurants in Singapore?
I think a restaurant, it's an overall thing. It's not just the chef, it's not just the maitre d', it's not just the location or everything. I think what makes a difference from a restaurant to another one, it's an overall harmony of everything. And the advantage when you are a chef owner, you can put your soul go within your restaurant. And as long as you control all that, then you get in a restaurant with a very good harmony and a very good feeling. And I think that will really create the difference. A restaurant is about character, about personality, and that need the guests, when they walk through the door, they have to feel that, oh, there is something there. There is a personality. They can feel that.
Really? So regardless of location, even if your restaurant was not located in Orchard Road, you still succeed?
Yeah, I mean, personally, even here we are today, yes, in the business district, but we are a bit off the business district, to be frank. This location, we got that beautiful location, actually, because at that time, nobody wanted that location. It was a very odd location, actually, to be. That was 10 years ago, before all the development or all the Marina Bay, which was not yet exposed to the people. We were not yet existing, knowing what will happen in this area. So actually our restaurant was a very niche restaurant with more personality in order to attract the people, and not about opening a restaurant in a peak location with a big concept and everything. We were more trying to be just honest and to be a bit what we call in France le restaurant de quartier, the restaurant of the neighborhood restaurant in a certain way.
Now, speaking about neighborhood restaurants,
Yeah.
Now you're in the neighborhood amongst the business district. Now,
Yeah.
has your philosophy of food changed from the time that you have started when you were young and today?
Yeah, what we have changed, I mean, first, the food have always been upgraded and changed through fashion, through generation. So that we always adapted. When we do traditional French cooking, it doesn't mean we do the heavy stuff, cooking or anything like that. We lighten it up to the taste of nowadays. I said it's a French cuisine of today. That's what we try to develop. Now, being in a business district, also, we had pretty much a focus which was oriented for corporate guests who have a certain habit of eating a certain way or eating very often in a restaurant, and we need to adapt according to that. That's what we adapt. Yeah.
Now, what strategies do you adopt to appeal to the people to come to your restaurant, and as well as how did you enhance your brand with your wife? What is the secret of your strategy in marketing?
I think it's really to show to the guests and we enjoy what we do, and then we have the passion for it, and we are honest in our restaurant, which means it's not a restaurant where you come just for a big concept or for the big wow. You come here really on the idea of the restaurant. It's comfortable. We're going to take care of you. You have of chance, you will meet the chef. The chef will cook things a bit for you, or will really listen to what you like and will be able to adapt it. And that's very much where we establish it. For our brand, Le Saint Julien, we brand it quite on a high profile. That came up through the market, through the way we do things. I mean, I'm still always coming from fine dining restaurant. My wife Edith comes from a high profile hotel on the salespeople, so we have that philosophy within us. And that's how the brand basically start to develop with that establishing. We have all type of corporate, but also a lot of government from any country who have come to dine in our restaurant. So showing quite of a credibility in what we do and the way our approach to all the things.
Now, speaking about credibility, so you have not spent any advertising dollar when you first started this restaurant. You just based on word of mouth. Is that correct?
Yes, totally. Yes.
Oh wow.
Right. Yes.
No, and so, but how do you get all your clients? I mean, you started your restaurant out of nowhere, and nobody knew who you are.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get your guests coming to your restaurant?
It was very much, I mean, a bit from where we are. Straight away, we got a couple of corporate who came here because of the neighborhood, basically. So they just came to have a look. And then from there, really create a word of mouth very quickly. And that's what have really established us throughout the time. To know, so the biggest challenge we had was when we opened, it was just on a period of 2003 when you had just, the SARS was just finishing, and then the war in Gulf was already on for already 3-4 months. So when we come in the market, it was in September, and people were quite, didn't travel much before, or didn't go much out before, and all of a sudden we were the new restaurant in the city, having that. And at that period of time, Singapore didn't have as much restaurant truly that you can see today, which today is quite a very various number. So we were a group at the end of elite chefs basically in town, and the word of mouth went very fast into that. And it was not the dollar sign of our marketing which was the key point behind it. And I think you can always spend a lot of money on marketing, but if after you cannot deliver, it doesn't work. So we start with the philosophy of first we deliver, we prove ourselves what we can do, and then after we did work a bit more on our brand and to really establish it.
Now, so you and your wife invested in the first restaurant.
Yes.
And would you able to tell us how much it has cost you when you first invested?
Honestly, it was over 10 years ago now. I mean, not 10 years, we'll be coming to our celebration of 10 years ago. And then we spent at the beginning, it was a budget of 250,000 basically to open that first restaurant. That's what I said at that time. In Singapore, it was quite manageable to do it. To be frank, we didn't have that money, but we pretend to have it toward our contractor, toward our supplier, and then good enough for you, everything worked out very well, and then we were able to reel the wine and do our own wine and everything, and that was really much.
It must be a big risk for you. So did your wife and yourself prepare to lose everything?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it was a goal anyway in our life in a certain way. I mean, for me, it was a goal of always, my wife always wanted to have a shop or a restaurant. It was a goal, so somehow if you have a goal in life, that is one day, you have to go for it. And definitely it doesn't mean, as we said, if you wait for the perfect condition to do something, you will never do it. So somehow you have to take that risk at
Now,
that point of time.
how important is innovation to you? Is innovation important to France and also to a Frenchman?
Not so much. As I always said, as a French person, we are quite traditional. We don't like to move things too much. Things stay a little bit the way they are. We will have to support that. We will have some very high technology to support the people. I would say to them to stay very traditional the way they do things. Same a little bit in our cuisine. Sometimes people ask me, oh, but you should be more innovative, more things. I said, there's no innovation into what we do in a way. We can do a little bit in the plating, but we have our philosophy. I like the food to be very much from the pot to the guest, which means you go a little bit on the plate, but with not too many elaboration, which may complete the dish, which makes the dish a bit cold, so we try to stay a bit more authentic. So for me, it's always a bit challenge because in a city like Singapore, extremely innovative, extremely demanding on innovation. It is truly sometimes on a French cuisine, it's not always easy to bring that innovation without losing the character behind it.
Now, coming to customer service, how important customer service is for you for this restaurant? Because customer service, it plays a very important role.
Yeah.
As you said, that when people come to your restaurant, it is the experience,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the ambience and so
Yes.
forth, and also the character.
Mm-hmm.
Do you provide the kind of training that your staff needed,
Mm-hmm.
and also exposure, and what kind of best practices have you implemented to ensure that your staff were able to stay in your restaurant for long term?
In a sense, customers are very important, definitely. I always said the restaurant, it's 50% service, customer service, 50% food, and then it's 50% overall quality, and also you need a lot of things. Customer service is very important for that. I think Edith, my wife, is, I would say, the champion on that, on recognizing the guests, knowing what they have, knowing what they want, constantly being alert on every attention for the guest. Extremely important. Into recruiting our staff for the service, we always said we want a staff who can talk. We're not afraid to talk. They may not have yet the perfect wording what they want to tell, but that is our role, yes, to teach them, to put, I would say, to put in their mouth the right word. And then if they are communicative people, I think that's the most important in our recruitment, in our service side. That means you need people who have pleasure to talk of anything. Then after it's us who develop that in order to seduce the guest if the person is not shy. So that's a key point, I will say. And then the training, constant training on recognizing the guest, knowing what they like, what they don't like, doing it not with a system which is too computerized system. We don't really do a computerized system to identify the guest. We find that too robotic, and then your staff will become too robotic also if you do that way. So it's always through briefing before service. Every day, every time before service, we go through the list of the named guests, which one we know, what is their preference, what do they want, how they want to. Was a time also when we had a lot of bank coming in our restaurant. Very important part, like to know where to sit all these people, because you wouldn't be able to put two banks next to each other. It would be, they may feel uncomfortable. So it was something as a customer service which they don't see, they don't know. But we were always trying to play with that, a bit musical chair around in order to do that. That was very important for us.
Now, but how did you retain your staff on a long term? Because there's a lot of staff turnover these days in the service sector. So what's your secret in able to retain them?
Yeah, we have a lot of staff and we have written really for years, and that was very a pleasure to work with them. I would say the difference what we had, we were a family. Honestly, we work very hard. We work hard with our staff personally. We try to reward them, not just purely with a salary, but we go for brunch on Sunday all together. We rent a yacht all together to do a party. We try to be really with them, and it becomes really a family. And if one cannot wake up one morning because it's just too tired, then then so be, okay, we move on. The other one will cover him, will try to work. And we develop this spirit of a family. I think being an husband and wife, then with our team, it was pretty much a good,
So you
a
would,
good feeling.
so you work on a basis on compromises and give and take.
Yes, pretty much, yes,
Oh.
yes. And not on establishing rules, establishing too much rules and too much things, which I said sometimes, especially for a small company, it makes people falling into a routine. And for small entrepreneur mind, things like that, it does not always set. I always believe a lot of those philosophy can work for big corporate company who need to have rules, who need to have very guideline on how to treat, how to do things. But when it comes to a small scale restaurant, we better to work as a family and to deal with our staff every day. And sometimes a bit with their personal issue, we were a little bit involved into it because we know we had to adapt. Okay, he had a bit of a difficulty, so okay, we try to help, and then he works a bit that way. And I think that friendship was very important to us. And today, even they are very important to us. Those who have started with us, we are still in touch with most of them all the time, and then that is very important.
So who's your longest serving staff so far who has stayed with you?
We have we have our accounting, he's here from day one, so over 10 years now with us.
10 years.
We have a barman, which is with us for over 8 years now. We have another, our manager today, who worked for us. He worked for us for 4 years, he left for 2 years, then he came back and still with us. We have a lot of our staff were on average 4 or 5 years with us. We have quite a big batch, which is quite good here in the industry.
Oh yes, of course. And Chef Julien, could you also tell us and share with us 3 key success points on how an expat from overseas, or even a young entrepreneur could open a restaurant and make it successful? What would be the 3 key advice you would give them, and what kind of risk should they take?
I think that few aspects. Before coming to Asia, you have to be very qualified. Not to assume that, oh, anyway, I will know more things than what they know over there. You have to be already in France very qualified in regard to your profession. I think it's extremely important, because once you move here, you don't have much way to keep learning your profession, because you don't have any more that surrounding. You are here to give away that knowledge from that time. And I think that's one of the key points. Sometimes some may miss out. They come here thinking of it a bit of the United States in the 70s or in the 60s, when you can come and do things. It's a bit different here. You need to come in Asia with a very strong knowledge. That is very important. You need to come with a philosophy of you will have to give back that knowledge. You cannot try to just protect it or anything. You have to give it back for the people to have interest to work with you, and then being able to help you then to develop into it. For the moving of the staff, it's a big issue, how to sustain the staff. I believe truly is to be also extremely honest and transparent with your staff, with anybody you work with in Asia. I believe, and I think, especially coming from Singapore, transparent, it's really important. So if we have a difficulty, we just say it, and then it works out. When a staff is not responding to what our expectation is, a lot of time you have to be much more open to just talk with it. Say, okay, I was hoping for that, you give me that, it's not exactly. And that open is not easy. A European may not always have it. He will think more of hierarchy. And what I've learned here is to really work a lot with my people, with my team. I mean, I don't try to build my career by building a hierarchy system. It's very flat in our restaurant. I mean, even so, I will have a chef, a sous chef, and manager or something like that. We're treating pretty much everybody on the same level, and we try to elevate everybody one by one.
Now, and Chef Julien, before we let you go, moving forward, what's next for you? Are you having any thoughts and plans I know that you appear in talk shows and TV shows, you know, and being a judge as well, you know, and you've done so much. Would you be coming up more cookbooks, and at the same time, would you be expanding your brand, you know, in Southeast Asia and even perhaps maybe in the US or Europe one day?
Yeah, we're looking at it very strongly. We're developing different aspects. What I'm not into is to do what other people do before. I believe you have to be yourself and develop it. So to use it, to use a Saint Julien and open a Saint Julien in Hong Kong, a Saint Julien in Bangkok, a Saint Julien, I personally do not believe into that system. It's what many chefs do now, but
even for franchise, you're not interested.
Not really, but I don't think it's a product you can exactly franchise today because it's very personalized. So not easy. So it's not the key point. And a restaurant, it's a very personalized business. Not so easy to really franchise unless you are a very standard 10 product or mono product type of restaurant. Much more easy. So, we look on different aspects. Personally, I'm working a lot lately in terms of knowledge, in terms of understanding, in terms of exploring on sustainability development. So all the energy, what can we do in terms of the cuisine, in terms of the way the product we buy, what we do, how we handle, how that can be involved with the sustainability development of today for energy saving, for green environment. So it's a subject today I'm really working deeper and deeper with big company into understanding what they do in their company, so what can we do towards ourselves. We're developing a line of product which will be, yes, on the other hand for retail, which is our cuisine, our ready-meal dishes, which will be retail, which people today can just order from our website, but we're looking at retailing that gamut of product to be able to be in a home of everybody, also to access to everybody's. I mean, we have a big brand, our restaurant have quite of an image on the luxury, but we want to be able to give the our food to a different of the society and to spread it.
So do you have plans to build a central kitchen then?
We are building one already.
Oh, you are?
We are starting a renovation mid of this month. The renovation starting for the central kitchen.
Oh, where is that?
Supply. It will be so in the Zot Fun of Singapore, which is around Paya Lebar.
Okay.
Mark Fesson, Paya Lebar, which we're building now that central kitchen, and we'll be delivering people at home with some of very refined dish, which they will be able to cook at home to develop that aspect. But we're looking also at delivering some other some private restaurant who need a support for the food, since today manpower is not easy. Then we will have the solution. We're developing a solution for the food industry for them to do that.
Now you speak about ready-made food, there's luxury. Would that be also be available like grocery stores in Singapore, like Cold Storage or
we're looking forward, yes.
Yes.
So under which brand? We have different brand. I mean, will it be under Saint Julien? Not sure. It could be. We have another brand which is Cuisine by Chef Julien, which we slowly putting in the market.
That sounds like a multi-million-dollar investment.
What? We will see how the return will work out.
You know?
Same aspect, because we are entrepreneur, we measure what we do at our level and our size. So we're starting on a step by step. And to be frank, the investment, yes, is quite involving some investment into it. But we're still starting very slow, just to build first, just the word of mouth behind it, and to see how the guests really want to. So in business, it's so important is to know, to produce also what the guests want. You have to bring your expertise, you have to bring your innovation into that dish, you have to bring perfection, but you have to be also what the people want to, not just what the chef wants.
So do you see yourself, your brand being listed in the stock exchange one day, since you have friends around in the CBD?
This one is kind of... Some already keep on approaching us. Listen, we can invest with you, we can do things. But at this time, we're lucky enough, and we treasure that at the moment with Edith, with my wife, and we are 100% what we own here. That means it gives us also the free liberty of our thinking and of our development, in a sense that at the moment we are lucky enough we don't have any partner. or anything. So every decision is really direct from us, and that gives us a lot of flexibility. And I think to develop a product is not about just a standard, a systematic. There is no true rules on what to be done somehow. So I want to do it from my home, from what we like. You know?
Now, is buying a piece of land in Singapore part of your pipeline so that you can actually say that this restaurant is wholly owned by you? Is that part of your plan?
Today, I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have done it already 10 years ago. It's definitely today what, to be frank, today rental is the biggest challenge and what we have. System also of renting is quite challenging because as a principle, especially if your restaurant is successful, every time you renew your contract, you get an increase and increase and increase. And to be frank, for us after 10 years, it become almost impossible. The increase become very hard to be sustainable, to be frank with you, in that regard. That's something we were looking at it also to open a very private restaurant. We may have today to go back to even a different restaurant, but a bit something that we own again, but we own this time also the property of it in order to be able to do the way we do and the way we like it. Yeah.
So once again, Chef Julien, thank you for joining us here at the National Critics' Choice. And before we actually let you go this time around, and really, what will be your three key advice for young aspiring chefs graduating probably from culinary schools, or they may not even be chefs, but coming out from universities or from high schools? What will be the three key advice for these young people and the future generation who wants to be in your shoes today?
In terms of chefs who come out of school or their first study or reconversion a lot of time from some other profession, it's important they have to take their time, and it takes some step to learn really that profession. It's not just because we know how to cook a steak or a dish that we will be able to be a chef. So the key point for them is be patient, take your time, have a philosophy of what you really want to, which means don't go to work into a coffee shop style, then after into an hotel, then after into a fine dining, then move back to a bistro style. You have to work through a philosophy of your work. And to work, you want to do a top fine dining restaurant, a high profile, very well, then work only in fine dining restaurant to learn that philosophy into it. That is very important for them. Keep learning, the knowledge is so important. Knowing how to do is one thing, and that can be into cooking. But having the knowledge of why we do that, having the true knowledge of the exact recipe of what we do. Cuisine have some basic, we cannot get away of it. And it can be a bechamel sauce, it can be another sauce. If you don't know by heart that recipe, you may know how to do it, but you will not understand how to progress and how to evolve. And same in terms of the type of cuisine, you have to be honest to what type of cuisine you want to learn. Today, if you want to be a chef and to cook Italian, French, German, a bit of Chinese, a bit of that, you're going to get lost into it. I truly believe. So you have to concentrate, okay, I want to learn purely French cuisine. Then you go to learn, travel a bit in France, read books of culture of France and everything, because that really helps into it. And in terms of once it's a time for you to go for it, to get into your goal, that means maybe to have your little restaurant, don't be afraid to start on a very low scale and grow it, because once you become an entrepreneur, a lot of them it's very hard to come back to work for a company after mentally. So the day you do it is for life. So that's why I said there's no point to do it too early. Do it at the right time, and there's no harm to start it first on a low scale. You don't need a lot of time, so many investors and everything. If you look at it very carefully,